welcome back to the Rack Pack. We are doing a podcast here, and we talk about modular synthesis and whatever else we want to talk about, really. We can talk about whatever we want. That's the way we roll. Today, we are going to talk about 2026, the coming year. I am one of your hosts. My name is Jonas. I'm going to introduce the rest of our hosts today. We've got the man in purple, Stu. Say hi, Stu.
Hey, everyone. How you doing? Happy New Year.
We got our friend over in Ireland, Mark,
Hello,
a.k.a.
everyone.
Synth
Happy
Dad.
New Year.
We got Jeffy, a.k.a. Santa Claus.
Hi, everyone. I still have a little bit of leftover holiday spirit, so I had to purge it in some way, and so I wore this Santa hat.
Yeah, you got to let that out. You can't hold that in.
Well, that's fitting because that's going to be we're going to talk about moving on into the new year. And Alex, how's it going?
Hey, everybody. Just like Jonas, I'm pretty excited. The city is not on fire this year.
Yes, we went through the 1-year anniversary of the big fires just a couple days ago, and it is nice to put that behind us and look ahead. We have a lot to look forward to. One of the things we wanted to do is to ask our audience what you'd like us to talk about in the coming year, because we've got plenty of things planned ourselves, but we'd like to hear what you're interested in as well. So if you want to go ahead and make a comment on this video, let us know what you like, what you want us to do. That's great. We'd love to hear from you. What are you guys looking forward to from 2026?
I'm looking forward to focusing, and by that I mean I felt that there was a lot of good about 2025, namely focusing on this podcast, but I'm looking forward to focusing more on music. Sorry for the beeping in the background. It's that parrot again. But I'm looking forward to focusing on my studio, reducing, rearranging, and making it more of a place that's conducive to making music. And I know this is something Jeffy's been talking about too.
Yeah. I've actually, ever since we had Jay Hosking on, and you two neuroscientists were laying out things about choice and like limiting choice, and how human beings don't had to have an array of choices. I've been trying to simplify a little bit, and that means putting stuff away, not having to have everything out all the time. That was something that Jay talked about too. And also just, I think there is such a thing as too much Eurorack.
Shock.
I know it's hard to believe, but
You feeling okay? I think he's drunk.
But I feel like that's right. No, but this is a year for me of simplification as well. I think I'm going to be reducing the number of options and adding, I'm always adding options, but reducing the overall burden. And I've been talking about technical debt with people as well. Having gear that is sitting there that you're not learning feels like you're putting off technical debt. But, I think it's fine. I've been inspired to use my January time, thanks to Stu, to get my studio organized and sort of solve some long-standing issues. So that's good. That's been good.
Are any of us
Definitely want to talk more about January at some point. But what's that?
Well, that's what I was going to ask, if anyone's actually doing it, like in the jam sense. None of us are?
I'll tell you why I'm not. It's actually it's one of the things I'm quite proud of, this decision that I've made. I've not missed a day of January for 5 years now. And I did day one, and I sat back and I said, no, stop. And I said, no, stop, not because, it's funny. On the one hand, I say I want to make more music, which is like a New Year's resolution, like going to the gym, right? In January, you go to the gym. January, I make music, and then I don't. And I said, what can I do to set myself up so that I'm not just making the time for January, but that I'm making the time for the whole year? And I said, the way for me to do that actually this year is to not do January. And instead, I'm still dedicating the same amount of time every day or every night, really, that I would otherwise have spent making yet another 2-minute blurb, 1.5-minute blurb, 5-minute blurb. And instead, I am learning soup to nuts how to use my Ableton Push 3, because this year everything's going to feed into it. Whether I'm using Eurorack, whether I'm using a more traditional synthesizer, everything's going to go into that, because I do want to get away from the screen a bit more. And so I've already gotten so far just in the past 10 days learning that push. It's more than I learned anything new in 2025. And so I'm actually really proud of myself and remembering, and this is very important, nobody gives a shit about your January except you. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. For me, it was always a personal goal, and I felt proud. But if you want to get a real splash of cold water in the face, unless you're Cuckoo, right? True Cuckoo, who's amazing. Look at your stats for your Januaries. Average listen time 3 seconds. It's just it's shocking. So if this is for me anyway, this to me felt like a better use of my time, and I'm actually quite proud of that decision.
I have a
I'm really grateful to you, Stu, for suggesting it, because I've gotten more done in terms of organization in the studio in the last 10 days than in the 8 months prior to that.
That's great.
I've got a 5-year streak going myself. For the last 5 years, I have not done a single day of January.
So you're the anti-January.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Maybe I've done 3 over 5 years. The one January I pay attention to is Brother versus Robot. He always does he's always got some cool AV stuff going on, or his Synths and Sandwiches series. But he's a pretty creative guy, so I do enjoy his Januaries. But as a whole, it is throwing a lot of noise against the wall. But still, it's cool. Change is a good thing. So take a step back after doing something for 5 years. That makes sense.
Right on.
I like both Synths and Sandwiches.
Alex, what about you? What are you looking forward to in 2026?
So I have, as you guys know, because I've been sharing too much about the project, I've been busy working on something more vinyl related. So it hasn't been a bunch of synth stuff. So as soon as that project's over and out into the world, I can hop back into the synthesizer world. But yeah, those guys over there inspired. I was pointing at Vinyl Records, by the way. They're inspired a project that kind of snowballed into something that now is a lot larger than I expected.
Are you ready to talk about that project yet publicly?
Yeah. If you guys want to, I mean, hopefully it's launching this Monday as soon as I get through mobile QA hell. But excuse me. Essentially, I designed what I think is the best vinyl record collection visualizer out there. I rolled my own. It was based off of a dynamic spreadsheet where you would put an artist and album name and kind of hit pre-populate, and it would pull in a bunch of data for you. But toss that onto r/vinyl on subreddit, and the general response was, we don't give a shit about this. We all use Discogs. So I was like, okay, let's take a look at the Discogs API. And now I've explored the entire Discogs API, as many endpoints as possible. And I've built something that utilizes all that and then heavily uses the D3.js visualization library. And so now that I'm done, I've got 8 collection visualizations, 4 value visualizations. We're using Sankey charts, chord diagrams, force graphs, heat maps, tag clouds, and then 5 different.
I do not know
modes.
what all these words mean.
I know. I was just gonna to translate what you were just saying. It takes this. So Discogs is like an existing utility online for organizing your collection, and this thing will help you
it's
visualize.
Basically the largest. Sorry to interrupt you, Jonas. Yeah, it's basically the largest physical media marketplace and database online, right? So instead of you just having, I've got Pink Floyd The Wall, you actually know that, I've got the 1982 pressing from blah, blah, blah label that has this specific run out. So it's really tracking pressing level data, and it's really cool. The way you value vinyl records is it's like kind of an 8-step scale. So you've got mint, near mint, very good plus, very good, good plus good, I think.
It's like comic books.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So, obviously depending on the rarity of your vinyl, the year it was pressed, the quality of it, the value of it can vary wildly. So, but that wasn't originally what I built. All the value stuff later. What I wanted to do was, I've got a small collection. I've only got around 100 records, but I was curious how they all interrelated to each other. I was curious how I could discover new aspects or new things to listen to, and just find a way to get to know my collection better. And so that's how the force graphs and the connection graphs kind of came out, and then all the value stuff came later.
Take that and take somebody else and then find common things you might both like and be able to trade with each other based on force relationships between albums and what have you?
So thank you for a brand new feature idea there, Mark. I appreciate that very much.
This is what I do.
Yes. So there's the public endpoint. So if you've made your collection public, you can use VizCogs to dial up to put in anybody's username and explore their collection. But there are limitations to that. You're not going to get marketplace data. And for some reason, one of their other rate limited API endpoints is master release data, which is super annoying because they rate limit to under 60 requests a minute. So if you've got a large collection and you want to pull in your master release data, not the year your records was pressed, but the year your record was released, which is important for a lot of people, I think. So that's a second rate limited API call, and I tried to make it like a really nice, smooth user experience to pull in all that information. But yeah, that's something that I could do as long as your collection is public. I could compare the two because the collection endpoint is really quick and super responsive. So I've tested up to 1,400 record collections on this, and it's loading in less than 5 seconds, all the basics. So the main page is kind of is a grid-based covers browser, but I put a lot of work into what I call the album detail panel. It's got the first thing it shows you is all your related albums. So it shows you who you have from the same artist, who you have from the same label, and the same genre, but it weights towards style, because style are a subset of genres. So genres are pretty limited. I think there's only around 20 in Discogs categorization system, but there's a lot of sub-styles between those, and those can overlap, which is kind of a cool way to find relationships. And then, on the album detail panel, there's details, track lists, the credits, high-res artwork, all the marketplace data, listening ability. If you want to sell your album on Discogs, you can do that with one click, all that sort of stuff. But that's a really good idea, comparing your collection to somebody else's. It hasn't made it into the MVP, but I'm working on a pretty interesting recommendation engine that really takes a look at your collection. It takes a look at the artists you love if you're trying to complete discographies, what styles you really lean into, and it tries to recommend not just a surface level, but on a slightly deeper level, some albums that you might want to add to your collection.
That sounds super cool. And that launches on Monday.
So hopefully on Monday. I've just got to finish some. So the desktop, it's made for desktop. It's made for interactive visualizations, right? But we live in a mobile world, so I want to make sure that it's as good as it can be on mobile. And part of the fun of that is designing a mobile nav for a very complex web app. So
how can people find it?
They can find it at VizCogs. See that? Discogs Visualizer. So www.vizcogs.com. You can actually go there, depending on when this episode comes out. It should be completely live, but it's up now. And some people have, funnily enough, found it randomly through a couple of search terms. So there's a small user base, but I'm hoping to, when I promote it on Monday and the rest of the week,
and that would be VIZ for those of us, of course.
Very cool.
Of course, yes.
That's Z for those of us in America.
Yeah. So that's it. But after that, we'll get back to the Synthery. But no, I am looking forward to Bookland Friends, which is on the horizon.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Bookland Friends too. It's just 2 weeks away from us now as we speak. And
before we get there, Mark, what are you looking forward to
I'm looking forward to being able to walk properly again. For those who don't know, I had a knee replacement just before Christmas, which has gone wonderfully. The wonders of modern medicine. But so standing has been a bit of a hard thing for me to do, which means working on modular hasn't been something I could do a lot of. So looking forward to getting back into that again. I think for me then, going hand in hand with that is I want to actually start using all this bloody stuff here to perform. I actually want to put it concept. I know, right? We're not just collecting it and visualizing and interconnecting it, but actually, and I think I said this in one of our previous podcasts. It's like getting out there and performing live, even if it's live streaming. And so what I'm trying to do, if you might have noticed, I have for doing my kind of Syntad videos set up here, and then over there I'm going to be setting that up as my live streaming table, where I'm going to be able to do more kind of freeform stuff. And I've been talking to people like Serco, who does a ton of live streaming, about how he goes about doing it. And for me, that's just more of what I want to get into doing. So like getting out there playing live and live streaming. So figuring out how to use the stuff in a live setup, and that could lead to what we've been talking about, some focus, some tough choices about what works and what doesn't, that kind of thing. So yeah. And it's a shame. I would love to be able to come to Booklet and Friends. I just can't swing it this time. So I am dying to know how it goes, because it sounds like this year, from what I've read, it's even bigger, and it's in a new location downtown LA. It sounds like it's got a lot more going on. It's going from strength to strength. Is that what you've seen as well?
That's how it seems to me. I mean, I see there's a pre-show that seems like it's going to be great. There's an after party thing that's going to happen. That seems like, it does seem like it's really growing into its own, and then this is going to be a great year for it. And of course, I mean, I know most people are looking forward to the Seaside Modular table that'll be there for the first time this year.
It's kind of
that's
a big
always
deal.
like a,
oh my God, that's probably the thing I'm looking forward to the
most. That
most.
and Quartet of Uncertainty, yeah.
By the way, I gotta say congrats.
That's a big deal.
I was just going to congratulate Jonas on 2025. Really, truly, your module Proteus selling so nicely, and people really resonating with it. And I know there's some stuff that's going to be coming out soon where people can see some more great uses for it. So just congrats on that. And what about, I think you're the only one who hasn't given us a 2026.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm actually starting to design some new stuff now.
Ooh, you heard it here
my time
first,
is kind of limited outside of work, but yeah, I've got some been making some new PCB circuit boards and getting some prototypes printed out, and can't say what
that sounds like a lot of technical mumbo jumbo
things, wires connected to other wires, and making music with that. That is not a parrot. That was a dog, but
dog.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be fun. I'm definitely looking forward to Booklet and Friends, and also Super Booth this year. I'm going to try to get to for the first time in history, in the history of the world, and it'll be fun.
Yeah.
One other thing that also I think came out just this month, right? Yeah, it was this month. This month is already going quickly. Is Jeremy's Acidus Versio video. So Red Means Recording did a pretty cool feature on your alternative firmware for the Versio platform. So I think that introduced it to a new audience. So also another great project of yours, Jonas.
Yeah, nice to see that getting some attention. And I think he used one of the beautiful panels that you made, Alex, in his video. And it's fun. Every time one of those things happens, you get a new wave of people interested in it. This is a 303 voice for the Versio, and it is a project I worked on, but honestly, I didn't do that much for it because I just ported some code that existed. It was the real hard work was done by this guy, Robin Schmidt, who made the Open 303 software code base. But that's inspired me to take another look at that code too and see how it can be improved in various ways. So that'll be another. I've got like 25 projects on my back burner that I just won't be able to get to. I got a busy year at work, Jonas. So I all these things have just been building up in my hobby queue.
And you're playing at Booklet and Friends as well,
Work.
right? Quartet of Uncertainty. Who's playing? Stu and Jeffy.
That's it.
Stu and Jeffy.
Yeah.
Stu and Jeffy.
Jeffy and I are part of
half of a quartet. So
half of a quartet of Uncertainty.
Yes.
Well,
So is that going to be
it was almost going to be a trio.
the same performance you guys did at NobCon? How's it going to be different? What's going to be?
Same but different. This is going to be our last performance of Todd Barton's Butoh for Four Easels.
Yes.
We're playing it again, although while it's meant to be in quad, the venue unfortunately can't accommodate quad. So we're just going to not do it in quad. I think it's still
stereo time.
It's sonically rich enough, and I'm sure it's a reverberant location that it'll be quad enough, you know. But after that, we are going to be working on some original compositions this year, and hope to debut them in various performances throughout the year if we can. So we're super excited about that. We're opening up the Buchla and Friends Saturday night after party. We're on First at 7:30 p.m. in downtown LA, and that evening it's just
for you
it's a
sleepyheads,
great
we go
lineup.
on early.
Yeah, we go on early, kind of get the crowd warmed up with some really dissonant, non-melodic,
abstract.
abstract. But it's a wonderful piece by Todd Barton, and it got a really nice reception at NobCon, so we're happy to be doing it again. Unfortunately, Todd can't come to see it this time either, but I know he was thrilled that we did it last time, and it's just a blast. And I guess it makes sense to open up a Buchla and Friends event with some Buchla. So yeah, we're looking forward to doing more of that this year.
How does
we'll see where we might
how
do
do
it.
four Buchlas play together? Like it's like having four musicians in a band, but you all have the exact same instrument. It'd be like four guitarists, right? How does that actually work? And
Yeah,
The same instrument, but like
right.
even two guitars.
So how do you keep it
don't
all
sound
sort
exactly
of coherent
the same.
and working? And each does.
So we have a plan, and the plan is sort of like a layout of slider positions and how the easel is patched. And then over time, we have targets that we're hitting. And these targets are get to this slider position by this point in time. So there are asynchronous events happening that are drifting toward these sort of bookmarks. And even the nature of each easel is so different that even visually looking at the same settings, each easel is going to sound different with those settings because there's so much variability.
yeah.
But we drift toward these bookmarks, and we're all like looking at each other and connecting and trying to play together. The way we were set up last time, we were facing each other, so there were two of us on each side, and so I could look to my right and then see everybody. And so we have a target and we're looking at a timer, but it's
all by feel. You're kind of,
you know,
yeah.
there is a you're kind of feeling it out together.
And I was just going to give a quick shout out. The other two members of the Quartet of Uncertainty are Jason Chodakowski, who's a member of our, all of us are on DivKids Discord. Shout out to DivKids Discord.
Yeah, Jason is
Speed
really
Racer.
the person who started the thing.
Right. And then Nick from Buchla, who works for Buchla, he's part of the group as well. And it's really cool I think it's fun to perform with someone, to perform Buchla with Buchla is kind of cool.
I wonder if for your original compositions you'll do the same sort of mapping and planning that that you're working with on the Todd Barton piece.
Same,
We
but
don't have,
yeah, I was going to say one idea I'm working on is a piece for four easels where instead of four people having the same patch, it's 2 and 2, and those two patches complementing each other, and each kind of like jazz, each having an opportunity to kind of stand out, step up.
I like
but we'll
that.
see. We'll see how that develops.
Yeah, and we've got a bunch of ideas in the hopper. Another one is having 3 easels with the same part. More, I hesitate to use the word melodic, but more movement, more percussive, and then the fourth having more of like a drone patch that would.
I like the idea of having bookmarks, the way you use that phrase, because you know we're used to a band. Like if you had a 4-piece band, it's like everyone is playing the same thing, but you're doing the drums and you're doing the bass or whatever, right? whereas this feels a little bit more asynchronous, but you all have kind of waypoints like a video game you have to get through at a certain point in time. And that's actually a really nice way of thinking about it. So it doesn't matter how everybody gets there as long as they get there at a certain point together. And that promotes a sort of a more fluid performance, I'd imagine, right?
Yeah, and there is room for individual improvisation in certain parts, and we all, try our best to listen to each other and make sure it makes somewhat sense. If Jeffy trips on a very interesting sound and is exploring that, the rest of us should be kind of stepping back, giving him that opportunity, and if we can figure out something to complement that, we do that for sure.
So
Jeffy, go full solo. Send full solo. Send.
It's really fun and interesting, and I've never played, since I was in grammar school, played with a band, but it was really an orchestra, and we were all terrible. But it's very interesting to be sort of acquainted enough with a patch and have done it multiple times. And then to do it with others, you really do find interesting timbres. And the way we were set up before, you're also there are phase things that are happening because you're creating the same sounds. And so it's it provides just a different kind of canvas where you're sort of flowing through, as opposed to sheet music where everybody's on the same bar. You might be doing different things, but you're all in the same place. And where exactly where everybody else is looking at the chart, right? But this is just a different thing, and it's really fun.
And if people want to see it, it's at the Boomtown Brewery in downtown LA. This is on Saturday, the 24th of January at 7 p.m. And I'm looking at the rest of the lineup there. There's some other great acts as well.
It's amazing.
You got Trovarsi and ALX 106. Honey Smack from Melbourne.
Yeah, he's a lovely guy.
Easy Bot's coming down
Easy
from
Bot. Leon Somov and Linas FT from Latvia. Tammy X, we've seen her
She's
before.
amazing.
She's great.
She's great.
The Aphonic.
That's
from
Brian.
Boulder.
Brian from Colorado Modular Synth Society.
Yeah,
He's fantastic.
Brian's really good.
He does some good stuff.
Roman Jovian and the Galaxy Electric. That's going to be a great
So
show.
talking about Buchla and Friends, not all of our listeners might be as familiar with it, right? Because we've talked about it on prior shows. I don't know if we have actually ever talked about it on a prior podcast. So let's assume we haven't. What is Buchla and Friends? Who wants to describe to a person who's new to all of this what Buchla and Friends is, and what would they expect, and what would be there, and what are you kind of looking forward to seeing there as well? What's worth checking out beyond just performances?
I mean, I'll give it a go. When two synthesizers love each other.
Can we edit him out? Can he be?
I'm kidding.
Do we have to put up with this?
I think we have to go back.
I'm done with the.
Start with what is,
no more fart noises.
What is electricity, man? What is?
Yes, Buchla.
If we're going to do this,
what even is electricity?
What is electricity, man?
What does
really?
is mean?
What is it? Is it just electrons?
Okay. We can do this.
We did talk
so,
about it a little bit. Oh, go ahead, Stu. Yeah.
Okay, so just a quick historical recap. Back when synthesizers were being experimented with in the United States and moving away from filling entire rooms to becoming kind of a bit more portable and performable, we had two philosophies. One developed by Robert Moog on the East Coast, which is subtractive synthesis, and subtractive synthesis is what I would say most people think of when they think of synthesis. You have a sound source like an oscillator. You run it through a filter to remove harmonics, hence subtractive. And that's one school of thought. And of course, Mr. Moog developed eventually the Mini Moog Model D, which brought synthesizers, stuck a keyboard on it. He fought against that for a while, but let's not go that deep right now. And that's when synthesizers really started to appear in pop songs. Nod to the ARP 2500 and ARP 2600 again. But that's the general East Coast synthesis. At the same time, Don Buchla was doing his thing at universities on the West Coast, not incorporating the concept of a subtractive filter, but rather wave shaping. So instead of removing harmonics, we're now taking the wave and twisting it, shaping it, running them through low-pass gates as opposed to filters, and that's basically the Buchla way, and that was kind of distilled. Obviously, he had a large modular system, but you can't see it here. Well, you can. The Buchla easel down to my right for those watching on YouTube, and the Buchla easel became his portable PlayStation. You wouldn't find that so much in pop songs, but another way of thinking through synthesis. So that's the long story short. Buchla and Friends is a somewhat new, I think we're going to year 4 now, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe, yeah.
I think year 3.
Is it year 3? Is that right? Wow.
So.
Okay. Year 3. Thank you, Alex. And just as we've got NobCon and certain other synth events, we now have Buchla and Friends, and people really took to it. It's not exclusively Buchla. There's a ton of Eurorack there, as you know. Jonas will be there with Seaside Modular. Noise Engineering typically shows up. It's mostly not Buchla, and it's just a really lovely, warm, and inviting event. Of course, as mentioned, there are musical events planned around it. It's just for a weekend here in the United States in Los Angeles, downtown. And that's Buchla and Friends. And you can buy
right after
you can spend money there, unlike Super Booth where nobody's selling anything. People are selling typically here.
Yeah, I think it did grow out of NAMM, which is really large, all music type conference that happens at the huge convention center in Anaheim. And I think there was a craving for something a little bit cozier and more focused on modular synthesis, and that's what the great people at Buchla have given us now. And it has been growing, and it's now attracting both manufacturers and visitors from all over the world. And so it's great for us to have such a wonderful show in our hometown in Los Angeles for 4 of us, not all 5.
Yeah. Good luck getting into the country, everyone. Fingers crossed.
Oof. Oof.
No,
we don't speak
the
about
scenic
that.
hills. Yes, the scenic hills of downtown Los Angeles. But no, it's I remember going to Synthplex, and I feel like this has taken over that mantle and has a little bit more personality than Synthplex did, as far as it's not just in kind of like a Hilton conference center, so to speak. But yeah, really looking forward to it.
Not that those aren't wonderful.
Yes. Not trying to throw in.
That's a great way of putting it, actually. That's dead on, right? Kind of like filters. I think Synthplex is just kind of, you can get all the different sounds out of it, but Buchla and Friends has some character. It's got its own character and warmth.
Yeah.
Love it.
And there's a lot of friends this year, even more friends than before. So Buchla's pretty popular.
Yeah.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing Skylar from Prism Circuits. I think this is going to be the year of Surge for me.
The year of Surge. Tell us more about that, Jeffy.
Well, it although it does feel like I'm expanding, I've been looking at Surge for a while, and as part of my Eurorack pare down, as always with most things, as I remove options, I add options. The trick is to add fewer options than you're removing. So, but yeah, I've been wanting to get into that realm for a long time. As a Buchla aficionado, I'm sort of like Surge adjacent, and
it might be worth explaining
that
again for people who aren't familiar. What is Surge? So we had Bob Moog and we had Don Buchla. Who's this Surge guy?
Right. Well, it's not as straightforward as I don't know much about the Surge Cherepnin. I don't even know how to say his name, but it's basically a synthesizer system that was developed, I think, at CalArts, in the early 70s, and has a very similar look to the Buchla, and that uses banana jacks as well.
For you, right? For you?
For you, yes, exactly, in terms of size. And let's see, it has a very particular sound. These were sort of, Surge was sort of known as more approachable in terms of DIY, like
That's exactly right.
the inventor
That's exactly right.
developed kits for students basically to learn synthesis and to be able to build their own stuff.
That's right. He didn't. If I could just jump in for a second on that
yeah.
point, because I think that
You
really
probably
goes to
have
the core principle of what Mr. Surge T was getting at, and that is, sorry for the noise in the background. That's not a parrot. That's a 3.5-year-old child. If you can hear that, what he was getting at is, hey, Buchla is great, Moog is great, but they're either unobtainable or unaffordable. So I'm going to give people the opportunity to select, here are the basic building blocks you need. And they're all going to have pretty much, for the most part, the same layout. And you can get these panels, you can make them whatever you want them to be. And as long as you've got some soldering skills, suddenly what was unobtainable or unaffordable is obtainable and affordable for these students in school who want to learn synthesis. And that got a lot of people interested in learning how to solder and learning how to solder. And it was kind of
depends on where you are in the world again.
It depends on
Yeah,
where
you just
are
had
in the
like
world.
a British seizure or something there. That was amazing.
Yeah, British seizure. I drank too much tea this morning, apparently. So that was the idea. It was to make it more approachable, and there's some irony to that today because it's still kind of expensive.
I was just looking at the prices there.
especially
It's
if
like,
you're not
oh
building
boy,
it yourself. But-
yeah, is this approachable?
Yeah, you're going to want to DIY this stuff, especially if
Just to
you're-
give the listeners a sense, if you want a basic I forget what they're called, but like a basic 2-row prefab unit, you're talking $5,000. So you're talking, Mini Moog Model D new prices, stuff like that. So
for just 2 panels, basically.
For your
just a
standard
couple
college
panels.
kid, $5K for
right.
Yeah.
totally
Right.
For the
attainable.
beginnings of your
But
synthesizer.
if you're a standard college kid who wants to spend a few nights learning how to solder instead of drinking, suddenly it is somewhat
the
approachable.
costs go way down if you're doing
Yeah.
it yourself.
Yeah,
And,
like a drink.
By
For any-
by 2/3 or something like that.
And for anyone who wants to research further, at Serge Tankian, there was a system he was not down with, so he decided to mesmerize and hypnotize with his synthesis. And hopefully you guys get that System of a Down reference. And I can see by your faces that didn't connect there. But
That's not in my
Serge T-
Viscogs.
I have a question.
Yeah, if you're interested, definitely go check out prismcircuits.net. That's
Yep.
that's
Yeah, and if you want to see
my
some
first
Surge
stop.
in action, I think Tom Whitwell has got some good Surge stuff. Or is it Paperface, or what does he have going on? I think he has
Paperface
Yeah.
and Surge are used somewhat interchangeably in the.
So does all the Surge stuff have
believe.
those paper front panels? Is that just one variety of it?
That's one of the things that makes it inexpensive is the fact that there's these printed paper faces that you can put on. But people also do aluminum panels and others.
Custom, you can customize like our
again,
friend
it's like
Anselm did.
anything else. That's a way to keep the cost down. But like these days, I think aluminum panels can be around the same cost because
There's also
fabrication.
I'm
Those
looking
kind of
on the
fabrication
Surge
costs
website.
will
There's
come
also Surge in Eurorack format too, by the looks of it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so there's Euro format as well. I don't know if they have all the same things, but
It's interesting.
it's more about bananas and like the size and It's a different feel, kind of.
It's kind of funny because it's like how the Tip Top Buchla are also in the Eurorack format. It seems like everyone kind of is in their native format and then drifts down into create a Eurorack version because the market is probably a bit bigger.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, Cinematic Laboratories has a nice series.
And so does Tom Churchill. He has done some stuff with it. I know on his channel he's got a Surge as well.
Yep.
That was my mistake, Mark. I was confusing my Churchills and my Whitwells. So that was the Tom I was trying to reference there. So thanks.
You had a British seizure too.
I had two British seizures.
It's going around.
Grayscale, the company that does custom plats and some mutable instruments variations and their own modules also. I think they have a company called 1979, but they do some interesting Buchla format modules. A really cool plats implementation. I think they got a braids implementation, some other stuff going on. But yeah, there's a bunch of now we're talking about a niche within a niche within a niche, which is what you can do in this hobby. But it's some cool stuff.
Yeah, I have a question for the group, if I may. We all talked about what our individual, what we're looking forward to in 2026. We spent some time in 2025 talking about trends, etc. Where do you think we're going? And when I say that, I'm Eurorack specifically. Where do you think Eurorack is going in an era now that we've entered of high tariffs, additional pressure on manufacturers to increase, to maintain margin, additional pressure on people who are looking to buy this stuff. We are firmly now out of the pandemic era where people had time to learn these things. That seemed to be a renaissance of sorts. Where does everyone think, what is 2026 going to hold for Eurorack?
That's a tough one.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a culling. I think we're going to lose some manufacturers. I think, again, and we're talking within this niche, right? But the ubiquity of manufacturers, there's so many people doing things in Eurorack and lots of innovation going on, but it's hard to get attention. That's why I think Proteus is such a miracle, because you really do have to stand out, and it's not just I made a cool module. It's like, how usable is it? On top of, does it have an understandable UX? Does it have a layout that people can get into? Is it playable? Does it make things that are musical? It satisfies its I've suddenly become a Proteus fanboy here, but it satisfies, my favorite movies aren't necessarily the best movies, but they do the thing that they're trying to do, right? And Proteus does the thing it's trying to do. It executes on its vision, and it is uncompromising.
Well, thank you, Jeffy. I don't know if I'm going to get culled in the culling.
That's what I mean. It takes something like that to stand out. Other people will be culled.
I agree with you about the sort of that there probably going to be some kind of contraction of the number of manufacturers out there. It's an interesting dynamic because, one of the things that's really great about Eurorack is that there is a low barrier for entry in terms of manufacturing. It's not that difficult to sort of spin up your own thing and make a product and put it out there. And because of that, we see a lot of creativity, and there's a lot of new things coming out. There's a lot of variety. There's also a lot of, it makes it very easy for us to interact with the people that are making things, which is also one of the things that's fun about it. We don't have big, huge companies with 45 different layers of middle managers. So we can generally deal with the people that are making things themselves. But the downside of that is that there is a sort of tenuousness to it where it's not necessarily a viable business for most of the people that go into it, depending on what their goals are, especially if they're trying to kind of make a living off of it and survive that way. So there is going to be like a lot of influx and outflux in each individual year, and I'm kind of curious to see
Was that a soldering joke?
where the dust settles with all of that, especially when you add the new pressures of tariffs, and who knows, maybe a Supreme Court decision will change all of that and then suddenly unleash a whole new golden age of innovation. No idea.
I've been wondering along the same lines, will the market reward people who have a vision and an opinion about an instrument? So we talked about Sarge, we talked about Buchla. They're very different from Eurorack. Eurorack is like anything goes with anything, but Buchla and Sarge, they approach things in a certain way. They kind of drive you to a certain way, which was the vision of the originators of those formats. And so what I'm wondering is, will people gravitate towards what feel to be more coherent instruments versus I made another module because I had a daisy and a screen, so I did a thing. Look, it's a wavetable oscillator. There's a lot of that out there. Does the world need another wavetable oscillator? I don't know. Maybe they do. But if you come along and actually build an instrument, like we look at the TR-1000, an enormously expensive drum machine, but it's an instrument. It is very clearly designed by people who make an instrument to be played. I suspect that may actually resonate with people because they will actually respect the fact that somebody has kind of put a vision in front of it. Like if you look at different manufacturers, be it Chaos Devices, ALM, IntelliGel, you put their stuff together, there's a very clear vision coming through both in the form and the function. And I think that actually could be an interesting one to look at for the year to come as well. So whereas previously, like with the barrier to entry being so low, as you said, anyone with a bit of coding chops could just get the daisy seed, get libdaisy, throw a screen on front. You can do anything at that stage. But the question is, what should you do,
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say something similar. There's Eurorack manufacturers and there's manufacturers at scale. And when you start looking at the Make Noise, the Noise Engineerings, the IntelliGel, you're starting to see a platform-esque approach, right? IntelliGels, other than the mic and a couple other things, but their last three major modules are all the same size. You've got C-legs, you've got multigrain, you've got their reverb coming out. Excuse me. On Noise Engineering's part, on Noise Engineering's part, there's the Versio platform. Make Noise now has their multi-wave platform, their semi-polyphonic approach with normally, NUS. So. Thank you for the annotations, Jeffy, since I can't remember a single thing. But yeah, you're starting to see a very platform-esque and approach from some of these larger manufacturers. And I think that, but I love the low barrier to entry and the fact that people get to experiment and people pop up out of left field with a new idea. I think that's part of the beauty of this hardware format.
Yeah, it's also interesting. Noise engineering is interesting, right? Because I think they've been really ahead of the curve with respect to the platform. They came out with their Versio platform several years ago now. I think that was really forward thinking, and something else they're doing that I think for a lot of pure Eurorack users might be completely oblivious to it, but they have an entire business dedicated to VSTs. DAW only effects and instruments. I think that's kind of smart.
What is this DAW you speak of?
But I think as a survival mechanism, it's a really smart.
And guitar pedals,
pedals too, right?
Guitar pedals.
You've done the heavy lifting of building the DSP code or building the library to do a thing. Port it to as many other platforms as possible. Absolutely, get that out there and get it to as many profits. Yeah, get it. But like you've made an investment. Now leverage the investment in as many ways as you can. I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll go ahead and give a quick tease. We are likely to be speaking with Stephen and Chris from Noise Engineering this year, and no doubt, if you've got questions you like us to ask them, let us know.
Yeah, the first Versio hit Modular Grid on January of 2020, so that is nice to hit in their 5+ year anniversary.
And to expand on what Stu is saying, we have some other guests that we have on in the queue for us as well, but. If there are people that you'd like us to talk to, that you'd like to see on the show, definitely let us know who those people are as well. We'll try to get them on.
All right.
We might not listen to you though.
We might not.
Or they might not want to talk to us.
Alex definitely is not going to listen to you.
Well, I think, guys, it's we're not quite at the hour mark yet. There was one question I wanted to ask Jonas. I wanted to ask, what maybe you learned from NobCon or from Machina Brastronica, the experiences at your first two shows. That any adjustments you're taking into Buchla and Friends, or any different approaches, just hucking Protei at people as they walk by, or what's it like now that you're on your third show and you're a somewhat seasoned veteran?
I definitely learned a lot. I mean, one thing is it's going to be really nice not to have to lug the equipment onto an airplane this time. That's going to make it very nice. I was really happy with my actual setup. One thing, I learned little things like it's really much better to stand in front of the table than behind the table, because you can kind of talk people through things. And it's I need to have lots of copies of the headphones so that more than one person can listen to the same thing at one time as they're testing it out or as I'm walking them through, little things like that. But mostly just going to be the jerk that I am and try to offend as many people as
I just
possible.
like the fact that you're going to be just like lording over the fact that your module is so successful. You're going to be like, "Hey, how many modules did you sell last year?"
Let's put this in some perspective here. It was successful compared to what I expected, and I think it was. But I'm not make noise here. I'm not selling thousands of modules every month. I can't make that many. I just sold as many as I could make. But
did you solder 4,000 jacks last year? I don't think so.
Yeah,
he may have.
I'm making more.
Yeah, I'll get you a Jack's soldered sign for your booth, and you can just keep rolling that up.
I will give the fans of the Rack Pack a little preview on one of our new products here. We are working on these little guys here. These are new little tools for various Eurorack functions. This one here is for jacks, but we also got the ones that have the deeper holes that you can use for your switches and pots and things like that. And it's because I do use these things so much, putting together modules, I've been able to figure out exactly what I like in these tools, and the 3D printer allows me to go through lots of different iterations of them. So I'm focusing in on how I want it to be. Maybe a Buchla and Friends.
Yeah, that's really
some of those. Thanks, Jonas.
All right. Well,
we did it. We started off 2026 with a wonderful episode. Thank you guys for coming on and talking again. Alex, how can they find us?
It is at Rack Pack Podcast on Instagram. So we will get that right for the majority of the year, I hope.
I think I know what it is now, but I just love saying, like, Alex, where can they find us? It's like
we're hitting maybe a 50% success rate on the Instagram handle, but we'll get there. We're a slow learner on this side.
We're developing, even though there's 5 of us, and I know some people are worried, is it too many cooks in the kitchen here? We each have very, very well-defined roles. I think Stu really has taken on a new role in this particular episode. He is now the synth historian. So that's,
definitely.
Synth historian.
Yeah. So,
well, listen, I also want to thank our listeners who's we thanked you at the end of the year. We're thanking you in advance for sticking with us this year. And this year we'd love to hear more. Love to hear more from you. Yeah. And
we hope to see you at Buchla and Friends, and definitely come out to see the Quartet of Uncertainty at the after party if you can. And we will see you in the next one.
Yes, we will be signing banana cables.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you. See ya.